dedication. A little inspiration.
One day, when the war is won, victory will be yours.
Victory's gonna be ours.
It'll be yours. One day, when the kingdom comes, it'll be yours. It'll be yours. It's a long way up.
It's a long way up.
And a short way down. Just don't let nobody come and take your crown.
Take your crown.
Trying to make it through the system, but the doors are locked. The Most High got you covered. You're gonna rise to the top.
We're gonna rise, y'all.
This battle will bring victory. On with the greatest book in history. Check up your grade, it's no mystery. Yeah, yeah. You know this battle has just begun.
Battle's just
Check
begun.
up, you're hated by everyone.
All
But
nations
just remember
hate us.
you're the chosen son. Yeah, yeah.
This song is such an inspiration. We get the kingdom though there's much tribulation. Every day I send my prayers up. I even read where Yahweh said he'd raise us up. He gave Abraham the covenants. On the shoulders of Christ will rest the governments. The forces the nations gotta bring to me. The world is ours, our gates open continually. Praise Yahweh cause he gave us life. And sacrifice the reward as you could reign with Christ. Yeah, it's true, the Father made us sons to get a crown, then endure until the Savior comes. In the sight of God, no man is justified. To be approved, I read that gold must be tried. In the end, we're the greatest folks in history. Malachi sing to them about our victory.
This battle will bring victory.
We're gonna get the
On
victory.
the greatest book in history.
Bible's
Check
the
up your
greatest
grade,
book.
it's no mystery. Yeah, yeah. You know this battle has just begun.
Battle has
Check
just
up, you're
begun.
hated by everyone. But just remember you're the chosen son. Yeah, yeah.
We give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, for giving Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob the covenants, and for choosing our nation. We appreciate that. Hope the song inspired you. Yeah.
Before I ever knew you knew me, you chose me. Before I ever knew my purpose, you molded me. Looking at my past indiscretions, I'm thinking I'm dirty. I'm so dirty. Broken pieces, some are missing. You're saying I'm worthy. I'm still worthy. Focus on my everyday survival, living my life in captivity. I was not prepared for what came next. My judgment, is this life worth it? Before I ever knew you knew me, you chose me. Before I ever knew my purpose, you molded me.
All right, brothers and sisters, shalom, shalom. Welcome to another week of the Lions of Israel Sabbath class. I'm your host, Priest Danyaahla, representing Lions of Israel and Maccabeestv. Of course, I'm joined as usual by the Elder Zahab. First and foremost, I want to say all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. In the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ. I want to say peace and blessings to everybody that's watching us. So on all our YouTube platforms, Maccabeestv, as well as the Lions of Israel class, our main page. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you are not already. Drop a comment in the comment section, so forth and so on. Shalakia. Also want to give a shout out to Brother Nasiah for allowing us to broadcast on his channel. Into people's homes directly. It's a beautiful thing he's doing. So shout out to that brother as always. And last but not least, to my Clubhouse family, you guys are in the room. Make sure you guys drop a comment in the comment section too. Ping people to the room. You guys also can feel free as usual to click the link at the top of the room and come on over to YouTube so you guys can follow along. Not really a whole lot to see today. More talking, more reading. We're going to scale it back a little bit. For a couple of weeks, we were going into Revelation, and we were dealing with end time prophecy, so forth and so on, which we will definitely continue to do as prophecy unfolds. But also in the midst of prophecy unfolding and things happening all around us, at the end of the day, we're still here in captivity. So things happen to us as well, right? So it's a fight on all fronts. So I'm taking a step back today from all that deeper stuff to kind of just take a look at ourselves and remind ourselves of why we're here, why we're assembled. Sometimes we need that reminder. But before I get into that, as usual, I'll turn the floor over to Elder Zahab if he has anything he wants to say before we get started.
Yeah, all praises to the Most High. Shabbat Shalom, Nashbaka, Shabbat Shalom. All praises in the name of all praise to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son, Mashiach Yahushai. Hey, man, I like the vibe that you're on. I absolutely agree. I concur. Sometimes we get caught up in a lot of things, and it's always good to kind of scale it back and just come back to one. You know what I mean? Understand why we gathering and all that. So all praise to the Most High, priest. Yeah, I'm with you on this.
All praises. So without further ado, guys, we're going to go ahead and share the screen, and we're just going to go through today's class. All right. And I am on the road because we'll talk about it at the end of the class, but you guys know we're having a unity camp in Midtown Manhattan today. So I am on the road, but I didn't want to not give class today. So I'm set up, not in my normal place. So hopefully there are no technical difficulties, and forgive me if there are. Okay. So to the point I was making before, sometimes we just kind of got to scale things back a little bit and remind ourselves of why we're going through what we're going through, why we chose this path. Well, really, the Most High chose us, right? But we had to also choose the Most High as well, because Israel as a nation, we're God's chosen people, right? But amongst the nation of Israel, there is an elect, or as the New Testament frames it, there is an Israel of God. meaning a select portion of the nation that chooses to follow what the Most High says to do, right? Now, the question comes in, are we following what the Most High said to do for our own purposes? Or are we following it for something else, some other sinister hidden motive, whatever it may be? And so even when you choose the Most High, it's going to be a bumpy road. There's going to be obstacles. And these obstacles that are in our way are set in our path to separate who is sincere from who is not. And I think sometimes when we're in this truth, we forget these things. We forget that the Bible says that the Bible is our comfort. We gain comfort through the scriptures. And so when you look at the scriptures, you begin to see a lot of people in the Bible, a lot of our forefathers and foremothers, for lack of a better word, they also suffered things. They also went through things as well. The path was not always easy for them. When you read the book of Acts is literally the apostles suffering up to being put to death, all for choosing to follow Yahushua and proliferate the gospel. And they suffered all the way up until death, with the exception of John, who was put on the island of Patmos, which is a form of a prison. So we can't lose sight of that, because how is it that they suffered in order to obtain a good report and a good name, and then we come into the truth, right? And it's a beautiful thing when you come into the truth and you find out who you are, and you expect it to be smooth sailing. That's the wrong way to look at stuff. And a lot of Israelites, sometimes we lose sight of that. So sometimes we have to remind ourselves. So yes, there are some sufferings that we have to go through in the truth, and we should expect them. Let's start off with the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3. And we're going to start from verse number 1, right? It says, "Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest. Eat the roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel." So the Most High told Ezekiel to eat the roll. That's not literal. That's a metaphor. That's all it is. It's a metaphor, right? So the Most High is telling Ezekiel to learn the scriptures, absorb the scriptures, the law, statutes, commandments, etc. Internalize the scriptures. And within the scriptures, internalizing the law, there's also judgments there as well. You got to internalize that as well. And then you got to go to the people, which is the Israelites, and tell them about it. Tell them about God's laws. Tell them what happens if you keep God's laws, all the blessings, but also tell them the judgments or the curses that will come down if you don't. And in the time of Ezekiel and all the other prophets, for the most part, Israel was in captivity. We were being punished by the Most High. And so we had to go to our people. Ezekiel had to go to his people and teach his people and explain to them why they were being punished. Right? So when you first come into the truth, you absorb the roll, you eat the roll, you absorb the truth, you internalize it, you learn it, right? Verse number 2. "So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat the roll." That's us as well. When you first come to this truth, you open your mind and you absorb all the information that the Bible is teaching us. Let's start off with Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68 shows that the people that came into cargo slave ships, they're the Israelites, right? And then when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 7, the Most High said the Israelites are above all nations. So we're better than the other nations. That's sweet. That sounds good. You absorb that. You go and you read in the book of Genesis, the Most High made promises to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You go to Isaiah chapter 2, the Most High speaks about Israel being the top nation on the earth. You go to Isaiah chapter 14, you read about the other nations being going into captivity and being subject to us. You go to the book of Micah 4, again, you see Israel as the top nation above all nations. You go to Isaiah chapter 60, you see our gates are going to be open continually, and all the nations are going to bring us all their riches and give it to us, right? You absorb all that, right? Verse 3, "And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat." So we absorb all those things I just said and more. "And fill thy bowels with the roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness." So all the stuff that I just mentioned to you guys, that's the sweet stuff. You mean to tell me we, the people that were at the bottom in this nation, The people that were told we were 3/5 of a man. The people that's being shot down and killed in the streets. The people that they have created all types of systems through eugenics to keep us down. The people whose nationality they took. So we don't know who we are. Now we're going to be on top. That's sweet to me. And all these other nations that did us dirty, the Most High is going to punish them and use us, the Israelites, as a whipping stick. That sounds amazing. And we're going to have unlimited riches and wealth and children and family and wives and everything. And we're going to live eternally. That sounds great, doesn't it? That's the sweet part. Let's keep going. Verse number 4. And he said unto me, son of man, go get thee unto the house of Israel and speak my words unto them. So Ezekiel went out with all this great news, thinking that just like most of us, you come into the truth, you try to teach this truth to your family members and your friends and your co-workers and your children. It's sweet. It's great news. We're the chosen people. God loves us. We're above all nations. Jesus is black. The Israelites are black. The Latinos are Israelites. The Puerto Ricans are Israelites. The Dominicans are Israelites. We're not niggas and spics. That's great news. So you internalize that, and then you go tell your people, hey, let me tell you all this great stuff that I learned. And they're like, oh, that's great. That is great. That is wonderful. Okay, well, how do we obtain these things? How do we get from being at the bottom to being at the top? And then you got to tell them, hey, you got to keep God's laws. And that's when it becomes bitter because they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. It goes from being sweet to being bitter. Let's keep reading. Verse 4, and he said unto me, son of man, go get thee unto the house of Israel and speak my words unto them. You got to tell them the great stuff, and you got to tell them the not so great stuff. Verse 4, for thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. So this goes to show you that the Most High is dealing with Israel, not the other nations. Let's keep going. Verse number 6, not to many people of a strange speech and of an hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. If the Most High had sent Ezekiel to the other nations, they would have hearkened and listened. The other nations are not even God's chosen people, but because Christianity, I'm just going to call it what it is, because Christianity has taught the white man he's better than us, he believes it. And Christianity has been proliferated all throughout the world amongst all nations. And all these other nations believe that they're better than the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They believe it. But not a Negro. Not a Negro. We don't believe nothing, especially if it's coming out the mouth of somebody that looks just like us. Forget about it. Verse 7. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee. So when we come and tell them all this good news that we have, the gospel, pretty much, the glad tidings, they're not going to listen. You know why they're not going to listen? Because they have to do something to obtain it. They're going to have to go through something to obtain it. And they don't want to do that. So the hell with that good news. I don't want to hear that Bible stuff. For they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces. So now Ezekiel is getting that dose of reality. It was sweet, but now the angel is telling Ezekiel, hey man, the Most High is going to make your face strong. You're going to need it because these people is hard-headed. And thy forehead against their forehead, as an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. What is this letting you know? The way that you're going to be perceived by people is not sweet, especially in this day and time. We live in a world now where the world is ruled by the algorithm of social media, where people are addicted to likes. If you post a picture online and 1,000 people don't like it, they practically have to put you on antidepressants. That's the mindset of a lot of our people. So you come into this truth right here and talk this stuff, you're going to get a lot of strange looks. You're going to get a lot of hate. But the Bible says don't fear that. But a lot of our people, they come into this truth and they can't understand why their friends don't rock with them the way they used to. You can't understand why your family members might have a function and don't invite you anymore. They don't want you around. You can't understand. But you should understand it. Because it's prophesied that this is going to happen. This is the bitter part. Verse 10, moreover, he said unto me, son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee, receive in thine heart. That's letting you know that verse number 1 is metaphoric. It's not really talking about him literally eating a roll. He's supposed to receive it in his mind. The information that he read, he's supposed to receive it in his mind and tell the people about it. And they're not going to want to hear it. And hear with thine ears. Verse 11. And go get thee to them of the captivity. Now you got to go and you got to tell the people the reason why you're in captivity under these other nations is because you're rebellious. So if you want access to the sweet part, you're going to have to make some changes. And for a lot of our people, that's bitter. They don't want to do that. Unto the children of thy people and speak unto them and tell them, thus saith the Lord God, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. That's the bitter. Because it's letting you know that all of our people are not going to hear this. That's the bitter part. Especially for us, right? We all have people that we love outside this truth. It could be your mother, it could be your father, it could be sister, brother, uncle, children, nieces, nephews. You might have some friends that you knew in the world. You might have some coworkers that you're fond of or whatever have you. And you have to look at some of these people and realize many of them are not going to make it. This truth is a cold deal. In this truth, you're going to feel like you're alone. And in many cases, you are. Even though you have other brothers around you, other sisters around you, you might be in a congregation, you might have a spouse. But there's still times, even when you have a spouse, that you still feel like you're alone because a lot of things that you're going through, you have to go through yourself and nobody can help you with it. Of course, there's always a support system for brothers and sisters to help you out with certain things. Of course, that's what the assembling together of ourselves is all about. The Bible speaks about that, right? But there's also certain things that you're going to go through that only you can go through it. And some of those things may not manifest itself outwardly, but it might be something that's going on internally. Verse 12. Then the Spirit took me up, and I heard behind me a voice of great rushing, saying, blessed be the glory of the Lord from this place. I heard also the noise of the wings of the living creatures that touched one another, and the noise of the wheels over against them, and a noise of a great rushing. So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went in bitterness. See, remember verse 1, 2, and 3, it was sweet. Then when the angel told him, yeah, that's all sounded good, but the people ain't going to listen to nothing you're saying, it became bitter, just like it is for us. So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went in bitterness in the heat of my spirit, but the hand of the Lord was strong upon me. And that's us. It's not really us, ourselves, of ourselves, that keeps us in this truth. Especially with all the things that I said that we all go through in our daily lives. What keeps you in the truth? What keeps you going? It's the Most High, the hand of the Most High. That's it. That's what keeps you going. Because if it was up to you, do you want people to separate from you? Do you want to be ostracized? Do you want to be out on the streets on a Saturday teaching in garments with people calling you a Power Ranger because you look like a damn Power Ranger? Is that what you want? Did anybody as a little child grow up and say that that's what I want to do? Do you want to go to Clubhouse, for those of y'all in Clubhouse every day, and step on the stage and argue with reprobates day after day? They calling you out your name, disrespecting you, threatening you, all types of stuff. Did anybody really, really of your own self decide that that's your life path that you wanted to go on? No. It's not. So then what keeps you doing it? It's the hand of the Lord on you. You can't help it. The Spirit is guiding you. You can't help it. It's just what you were predestined to do. The point, though, is to be able to endure through it. That's the point. Let's look at Revelation chapter 10, verse 9. It says, And I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up. Same thing that the Most High told Ezekiel is the same thing the angel is telling John. And it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. At first, like I said, all these things, the kingdom, the glory, the fame, the riches, the servants, long life, no sickness, peace, etc. That's the sweet part. But to access all these things, ultimately the kingdom, we got to go through the bitter. Verse 10. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up. And it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. Let's move on. And I just got a little picture right there of a little kid. You ever see when you give a little kid something sour to eat, they make that face? That's what, when the reality of what the scriptures are really talking about hits you, it becomes bitter. Let's look at Sirach chapter 2. Starting from verse 1. It says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Letting you know off the bat, you are going to go through something. And we're going to deal with this temptation a little bit later in the lesson, but this temptation is not talking about temptation as far as lust is concerned, because a lot of times when people see the word temptation, their mind automatically jumps into the gutter and you start thinking about lust. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're tempted by a woman or something, or if you're a woman, you're tempted by a man or something like that. It's not what it's talking about. It says, prepare your soul for temptation. That temptation goes into being tried. It goes into being proven. So we're being told by Sirach, hey, if you choose to serve the Lord and the hand of the Lord is upon you and you choose to come and serve the Most High in His truth, prepare to be proven. You don't just come in and it's just the Most High says, okay, that's it. No, I'm going to test you. That's what it's going into. And as we read on, it's going to kind of make itself manifested. That's what it's talking about anyway. Verse number 2, it says, set thy heart aright, which is your mind. How do you set your heart aright? You intake that roll. You eat the roll. You absorb the information and get right with the Most High and do the Most High's will. And constantly endure. If it's telling you that you're going to be proven, you're going to be tested, and it's telling you that you have to constantly endure, it's letting you know you have to endure. Something is coming for you. Something is going to come for you. Something's going to come at you. Constantly. And you got to remember those scriptures and understand that you're being tested and you have to overcome that. And make not haste in the time of trouble. When you're being proven, when you're being tried, however the Most High is going to try you, don't be hasty. You know what happens a lot of times with brothers and sisters when you are in the midst of the fire of being tested? You know what happens a lot of times? Many of us, we always attribute it just to the women. No, it's not true. Many of us, male and female, we act or react emotionally, hastily, swiftly to the situation instead of what? Instead of just taking a moment, stepping back and looking at it and understanding what it is and finding a way to escape it. Because the Most High will always give you an escape. That's coming up in the scriptures soon. There's always an escape. You don't react to things hastily. That's a mistake a lot of us make. But the longer that you're in this truth, and the more you meditate on the scriptures, you always understand that there's always a way out. And the Most High will provide you that way out when the time comes. I am a living proof of that in so many areas of my life. Let's continue. Verse 3. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at the last, right? Because you'll be like Job. Job was wealthy, lost everything. He was tried. He was tempted. That's what the whole book of Job is about, right? And at the latter end of the book, his riches and wealth exceeded what he had originally. You're going to be increased at the last because everything that you went through, that you had to endure, was only to prove you. Right? Before they send you to war in America, right? They send you to something called basic training. What's basic training? It's to prove you. Before you go into a boxing match, what do you have? You spar with people. Before you go into the Olympics and play basketball, even just regular basketball games, they have preseason basketball games. They have exhibition basketball games to prove you. That's life. That's the circle of life. That's how it works. So it's the same thing in its truth. In order to be increased at the last, you got to be tested. Verse 4. It says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take it cheerfully. It doesn't always mean you're going to be walking around smiling. That's not what it's talking about. It's not saying that. That's not realistic. What it's saying to you is that you understand why things are happening to you, and you're not walking around constantly in a bad mood, taking it out on everybody else because you're going through something, because everybody's going through something. So you just deal with it. That's not to say, because we're human, that's not to say that you're not going to have bad days where you are upset. That's human. I'm not saying that. But I know people, I've worked with people in the past where when you have to work in close proximity with somebody, where somebody is always mad every day because something is going on at home, and they bring it to the job and make everybody else miserable. That's not supposed to be. And it's the same thing within the body of Yahushua, the body of Christ. It's not supposed to be. If you're a part of a congregation and you're going through something at home, whatever like that, and your congregation assembles, whether you go into camp, whether you're going to class, whatever it is, leave that at the door. Trust me, it'll be waiting for you. It'll be waiting for you afterwards. Leave it at the door. And how do you do that? Because you understand that you're being proven or tested in that particular area, so you're not taking it personal. That's what the author is trying to have us understand. Doesn't mean you're going to be walking around laughing all the time. That's not real. All right. And it goes on to say, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Sometimes you might lose something. Many of us lost things when we came into the truth, whether you had a good job, whether you had a certain aspiration of something you wanted to do with your life. And the Most High will bring you low first, break you all the way down in order to build you up. I always tell a story. I'm not going to give you guys the long version, but I always tell a story. When I first came into the truth, the Most High brought me all the way down to the point where I was homeless. I was sleeping on the damn subway, all that stuff in New York City. You've been in New York City, you know how nasty the subways are. I was sleeping on a train. I wouldn't lay down, nothing like that. But you take a subway seat, you just sit in the subway all night, just ride back and forth from the first stop to the last stop, from the first stop to the last stop. Most High brought me all the way down where what I had, I lost all of that. And I showed up at the doorstep back in the days, the old school. They had places for brothers to live because the elders had foresight to understand, hey, man, these brothers are going to come into the school and they're going to go through Sirach chapter 2. Their family's going to throw them out. A lot of brothers are getting, they were being simple. A lot of brothers were getting thrown out of their house, right? Like that old episode of Good Times. They would go home, mama would have white Jesus on the wall, and brothers would want to take the damn white Jesus down and put a black one up and argue with their parents about the Bible. And we were young men then. We're talking about, we was in our teens then. So we didn't know no better. So you had brothers that were getting kicked out of their houses and had nowhere to go. You had somebody like me that lost my housing and had nowhere to go. And we all ended up at the doorstep of the school. So they wound up getting some buildings for brothers to live in. And when I tell you that we was living in squalor in those buildings, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. It was so bad in the room that I had that I didn't have a window. You know what was my window? A garbage bag. That was my window in that building. That's a fact. Those that know. And I took it cheerfully. We all, because I was with the brothers. You know what? We was all together in the building. We was all doing bad, whatever like that. And we all just took it cheerfully. This is what it is. This is the conditions of the battle. We good. We got the truth. That's how we felt. But my situation may not be yours. The Most High might put you in a lower state in a different way, whatever it may be. You have to sleep in your car a little bit. I've done that too. right? It is what it is. But be patient if you're brought to a lower state, because it's not perpetual. It's not forever. It's to try you, to prove you. Everybody understand? Verse 5. It says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of affliction. Now, what you guys are seeing, if you're following the PowerPoint, this is a literary device being used. It's a literary device. Let's go to the next slide. It's metaphoric language. What is metaphor? A metaphor is a figure of speech in which a term or phrase is applied to something which is not literally applicable. The Most High is not literally going to put his elect in a furnace the way you put literal gold in a furnace to purify it. That's not what it's talking. It's a literary device. The same way you have to turn the heat up to get rid of all the impurities in gold so gold can be gold. It can shine the way it's supposed to shine and look the way it's supposed to look. You got to turn that heat up to get all the impurities out of it. That's what you have to do. So the Most High is metaphorically saying the Most High is going to turn the heat of affliction up on us in different areas to get all the impurities, which is sin, out of you and me, so we could be worthy of the kingdom. That's what your afflictions are. And that's bitter for people to really understand, because when it starts happening to them, they start questioning, why me, why me, why me, why me? It's to try you. Okay, you're going through something. Are you going to give up on the Most High? Are you going to give up on his truth? You're going through something, so now you can't. You only can go to camp when things are going good. You only can teach when things are going good. When things are not going good, you don't come around. You're not teaching. Nobody hears from you because you're going through something. That's wrong. So this is what separates the people that are really sincerely in this and whose hand God is on, who God has his hands on, and the ones that he doesn't. Because you're going to understand this. You're going to understand that this thing is happening to me. The Most High is trying to get some impurities out of me. The Most High is trying me. So this is metaphoric language, right? Let's look at the book of Isaiah chapter 48. Let's start from verse number 1. It says, hear ye this, O house of Jacob, which are called by the name of Israel, and are come forth out of the waters of Judah, which swear by the name of the Lord, and make mention of the God of Israel, but not in truth, nor in righteousness. And that's the problem with our people as a whole. They make mention of the Most High, but it ain't sincere. You know why? Because as soon as something goes wrong, then we find out you're not real. You're not real. They make mention of the Most High, but not in truth and righteousness. Romans chapter 10 says they have a zeal of God, but not according to righteousness, man. They don't. A lot of our people, especially our people in the church. But guess what? Sad to say, even in the Israelite community, it's the same thing. Same thing. Verse 2. For they call themselves of the holy city and stay themselves upon the God of Israel. The Lord of hosts is his name. I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they want forth out of my mouth, and I show them. I did them suddenly, and they came to pass. So the Most High said he declared the former things from the beginning, meaning the Most High has always told the people, just like the Most High told Moses in Mount Sinai, the Most High always told the people, hey, if you don't listen to me, this is what's going to happen. If you do listen to me, this is what's going to happen. That's always been a thing. These things do not happen all of a sudden. The Most High prophesies them. Not only does the Most High prophesy about what will happen when you don't do it, the Most High also sets forth prophets that tells you who's going to do it. Like you can read about Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible, and prophets prophesied about him before he rose up. You could read about the Medo-Persian, the Greek, the Roman empires, even America in the Bible before they ever spring up. And all these nations the Most High used to whip us. Verse 4. Because I knew that thou art obstinate, and thy neck is an iron sinew, and thy brows brass. Same type of verbiage the Most High told Ezekiel is the same thing. It's the same stubborn people. Verse 5. I have even from the beginning declared it to thee. Right. The Most High told the prophet, hey, man, this is a hard-headed people, just like he told Ezekiel. They're not going to listen to you. Because it came to pass, I showed it to thee, lest thou shouldest say, mine idol have done them, and my graven image and my molten image have committed them. So now the people are going to see that the Most High did it. It wasn't these idols that they were worshiping, because Israel was into idolatry. It's not these idols that brought these things down on you. It's the God of gods, because he told you from the beginning. And you didn't want to hear. That's our people. Right? Let's continue. Thou hast heard, see all this, and will not ye declare it? I have showed thee new things from this time, even hidden things, and thou didst not know them. The Most High shows his elect new things, even hidden things. The things that we know, the things that we were going over the last couple of weeks, these things are hidden things, right? The majority of our people, they can't see or comprehend these things, much less even the basics. They just can't comprehend it. Even though they have a Bible in their house, the majority of them. Verse 7. They are created now and not from the beginning, even before the day when thou heardest them not, lest thou shouldest say, behold, I knew them. Yea, thou heardest not. Yea, thou knewest not. Yea, from that time that thine ear was not open. For I knew that thou wouldest deal very treacherously, and was called a transgressor from the womb. For my name's sake will I defer mine anger. So the reason why the Most High is going to have mercy is for his name's sake. Because otherwise, back in the days when we was in the wilderness, right, the Most High told Moses he was going to destroy the people and raise up a people out of him. And Moses pleaded with the Most High and said, don't do that. Why? Because the other nations will see that and say, you delivered the children of Israel out of Egypt just to kill them in the wilderness. Right? And that was a good point. So the Most High did not want to be the God that brought his own people. He said he chose in the wilderness just to kill them. So the Most High had to defer his anger then, and the Most High has to defer his anger now. Verse 9 again. For my name's sake will I defer mine anger, and for my praise will I refrain from thee, that I cut thee not off. Behold, I have refined thee. So for those of us that are going to receive the mercy of the Most High, right? The Most High is saying he's going to refine us. That's what's going to happen. Everybody's not going to receive the mercy because a lot of our people are not going to repent. But the ones of us that understand that the Most High has deferred his anger, we're the ones that's repenting. And the Most High is saying that repentance is going to be done through a process of refinement. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. The ones that's going to be chosen by the Most High, understand this, are the ones that's going to go through the furnace. You're going to go through the heat. You're going to go through the temptation. You're going to go through it, and you're going to endure it. That's who's going to get chosen. So if you are in this walk, expecting for every day that you wake up, for everything to go your way, you're sadly mistaken. If everything is going your way, you're not one of the chosen at all. Because this walk, it's a refinement process that has to take place. I need everybody to understand that. Let's move on. Oh, Salaki. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 5, verse 15. It says, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense. And that's what we're doing today, waking up as Israelites and returning back to our laws, statutes, and commandments, our heritage, our nationality. We're acknowledging our offense. We sinned against the Most High. And the Most High sent his son. The Most High deferred his anger, sent his son to mediate a new covenant so that way we can receive all the promises that we were supposed to get. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense. In their affliction, and seek my face, in their affliction, they will seek me early. What affliction is the Most High going to put on us? The furnace of affliction, that refinement, that heat. You're going to go through things. This is the book of Zechariah chapter 13, verses 7 through 9. It says, "Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, saith the Lord of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn mine hand upon the little ones. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire." So the ones that the Most High would save would be going through what? The fire. It's a golden cord, a golden thread that goes all the way through the Bible that tells you the people that the Most High is going to choose. It's the ones that he's going to choose. He's going to try them. It's always been that way. "And I will bring the third part through the fire and refine them as silver is refined, and try them as gold is tried." So again, this is metaphoric language. Let's actually look and see what that process is.
The action begins down in the mine, where geologists point a niton gun at various spots in the rock face. The device detects the levels of 40 different elements, including silver. Silver in its natural state isn't silver colored at all.
Did you hear that? Silver in its natural state is not silver at all. In that shiny state that we are used to seeing it, where it glistens and it glows, that's not how it looks. Silver is basically another color, and is surrounded by a whole bunch of other impurities that it has to be separated from in order to become and go through a refinement process in order to become the silver that we know.
Charcoal gray. Miners drill holes in the silver-rich areas the geologists pinpointed, then insert sticks of dynamite. Experts haul the chunks of rock, called ore, to the surface. Geologists then test ore piles and blend them as required. The ore first goes into the primary crusher. The machine's huge steel...
So you have a crusher that has crushed it. That's a violent process. Rocky process. It's not easy. It's not smooth sailing, right? Just, if you can envision it, just envision this is your life and all the things that you are going through. Everybody that's listening, and I'm doing the same thing. This process of taking the silver from what we first saw, and the process leading all the way up to when it becomes the silver that we know, is your life story from the time you came into the truth to where you are now, and it's going to continue until Yahweh Shah comes.
Break up the big chunks into smaller pieces. Those pieces then drop through grates below into the secondary crusher, which breaks them down into even smaller pieces. Those go into
It breaks it down. Sometimes certain things that happen to you in your life is the Most High using that situation to break you down. Like I said before, how else can I look at it? When I was homeless and I'm sleeping on the trains and I'm going through what I'm going through, that was the Most High breaking me down and bringing me down to my lowest point. It's absolutely 100% not what I saw for my life at all. But guess what? I done been at my lowest point, being homeless. So guess what? If something happens where I have a room to live in, right? Because that's what I eventually, after I was homeless, I eventually had a room. Living in a room, and y'all know what rooms look like in New York City. Rooms are small. They're like closet. Out of state, you guys, your closet is the size of a room in New York. You know what I'm saying? And to me, just having a room after being homeless, for me, that was like living in a mansion. Just to have my own space, a roof over my head, shelter over my head, was like living in a mansion. I would have never felt that way if the Most High didn't break me down first, so I could appreciate when the blessings come. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? That's how you have to look at it.
Braiding cone crushers, which pulverize them into tiny pieces. A conveyor transports the crushed ore to the ball mill. As the mill's large cylinder rotates, steel balls bounce around inside, grinding the ore into powder. A water circulation system flushes the silver-rich powder out of the cylinder and into large tanks which keep the water moving. To separate and dissolve the metals the powder contains, workers pour in acid. The solution containing dissolved silver is pumped through filter presses. The filter plates are treated with a zinc-based chemical which attracts silver molecules. As the solution passes through, the plates trap particles containing silver, forming a layer of black powder called silver precipitate. This precipitate is composed of approximately 50% silver and 50% waste.
Now you're halfway through the process, right? and it still don't look like silver. It still looks like crap, don't it? What is that showing you? The refinement process, in order to get all the impurities out, so it can be the silver we know, is a process that takes time. And it's the time that it takes is representative of our lives and its truth. Every day we should be examining ourselves, whether we're in the faith, measuring ourselves against the scriptures, and making the changes that we need to make every single day, because it's a daily process from the day you walk into the truth till the kingdom. There is no stopping. There's no point in which we are, and any of us are in this walk where we could say that we are the measure of Yahweh Shai. We're on that level. We're perfect. There's no such thing.
To separate the silver from the waste, they first dry the precipitate in a gas furnace for a couple of hours.
There's your furnace. See, there's your furnace. Now the heat is coming, right? The beginning of the process, it was rough, but there was no heat. So when you come into the truth, the Most High might put little obstacles in your way, right? To see what you're going to do with that. But as you become more grounded and more rooted, and especially for you brothers that want to take on positions of leadership in Israel, yeah, you're going to get Most High putting you in the oven for sure.
Workers put the now dried silver precipitate into an oven, along with chemicals which prevent silver from burning off. Approximately 4 hours later, the silver and waste have separated and melted. Workers pour them into bar-shaped molds. The silver, being heavier, settles at the bottom. Workers skim off the waste floating on top. In less than 5 minutes, the molten silver cools and hardens, enabling workers to extract what is now a silver bar. The mining company sells the bars to a refinery.
Now, the process of refining fine metal starts when gold, silver, platinum, and palladium are delivered to the refinery in several impure forms. The lots of precious metals are weighed and tabulated. Then the lots are combined with flux, which looks a lot like you're actually making matters worse by
you guys get the idea, right? I don't have to play the whole video. I think everybody gets the idea. So verse number 9 again. It says, and I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined. Now we have an idea of what that looks like. It's a process. And part of the process is literally the heat getting turned up on you, where it looks like the walls are closing in almost. And will try them as gold is tried. Then shall call on my name. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. Because once we go through this process and we call on the Most High's name, he'll hear us. I will say it is my people. Once we are refined, the Most High is going to be like, that's my people. Right now, in the condition we're in, the Most High looks down on Israel like we're in sin. Right? But when we are refined as a nation, the Most High is going to say, that's my people. And they shall say, the Lord is my God. Let's move on. More about the fire. 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 6 through 7. It says, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptation. So again, we understand temptations means to be tried. So for some people, the Most High is going to try you one thing at a time. And for some people, the Most High might put a couple of obstacles in your way. For some people, the Most High might try you and then turn the heat down a little bit for a little while. Give it some time. And then try you again. Turn the heat down and give it some time. And for others, manifold temptations means one after the other, after the other, after the other. As they say, if it ain't one thing, it's something else. That's for some people in this walk, that's what your walk is going to be. And sometimes it might be multiple things at the same time. It's not the same for everybody. Verse 7. The trial of your faith being much more precious than of gold, that perisheth, though it be tried with fire. So again, as I said, it's a literary device. The being tried with fire is letting you know, and the gold analogy is letting you know that the same way that gold and silver go through that process in order to become what they become, is the same way those of us that come into this truth, It's the process you're going to have to go through as well. And I'm going to have to go through. And you're going to have to, as it said in Sirach chapter 2, constantly endure. And that's the beauty for those brothers and sisters that are part of a congregation, or if not, at least if you fellowship on Clubhouse and you're always around other brothers and sisters. The beauty in it is you have a fallback system in your brothers and sisters. If you just need somebody to talk to, somebody to counsel with, or what have you, you have that. That's the beauty, right? And another thing, don't be someone that's always needing to be counseled but never can give counsel. What I mean by this is this. Let me phrase that a better way. You have people that they always need for you to build them up and be an ear for them and listen to what they're going through and what have you, but they never are that for anybody else. The person that is listening to you has their own problems, right? But maybe the problems that they have, they're handling it pretty well, so they're able to kind of just mask it, internalize it, and be an ear for you. They're able to put their problems aside for a moment to be able to be an ear for you, a shoulder for you, whatever you need. And likewise, this is where everybody needs to examine themselves, you shouldn't always be in a state of being needing a shoulder or a hand. Sometimes you need to be the shoulder for somebody else, is what I'm saying. Because everybody's going through something. That the trial of your faith being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried by fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of a Mashiach the Yahushai, right? Because once you are refined at the goal, you're going to be found to praise, honor, and glory when Yahushai comes back. That's what we should be aiming for. This is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 1. It says, "For as much then as Yahushua, Jesus Christ, have suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind." I don't think Israelites read scriptures like this enough. It's saying literally the same thing we read in Sirach chapter 2. You have to have the mindset that when you come to serve the Lord, you're going to suffer. You're going to go through things. You're going to be proven. You're supposed to arm yourself with that already, knowing that that's going to happen. You may not know where it's going to come from. And again, I'm not telling anybody that you should be happy about it, like you should be walking around laughing about it. No, not at all. But you should also have already coached yourself and told yourself, okay, whenever it comes, whatever it's going to be, I'm going to get through it. I might be a little messed up behind it in the beginning. I might be a little sad about it in the beginning. I might be whatever. But ultimately, I'm going to go through that phase for a short amount of time. And I'm going to pick myself up and try to figure out, how do I get out the situation? And I'm not going to let it affect my walk. If the camp is used to me doing A, B, C, and D, I'm going to do my best to continue to hold down A, B, C, and D, even though I'm going through something. Arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh have ceased from sin. Right, because suffering and being tempted and proven through certain things is getting rid of the impurities, which is sin that's inside of all of us. Verse 2, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of God. And that's who we're supposed to be living for. The will of the Most High, which is the laws, statutes, and commandments, because that's what God's will is. Reading on. For the time past of our lives may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles. Right. We're under these other nations, including America, and a lot of what we do, really a lot of what we did, was based on what we were told by them. When we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, banqueting, and abominable idolatries, because all these things are related. When you were dealing with these idols, it was lasciviousness in these temples. There was lust. There was excess of wine, revelings, food, all types of stuff they were doing in these temples. Inordinate sexual acts, all types of stuff they were doing. Verse 4. Wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you, right? Because now, once you realize and recognize what that stuff is, you kind of remove yourself from that stuff, right? And they think something's wrong with you. I know brothers that have lost jobs behind this stuff. Somebody finds out you're an Israelite. You lose your job. Or you start having conflict with people on the job. They liked you when they didn't know you was an Israelite. They liked you, but as soon as they find out and everything they liked about you, they don't even remember that no more. Verse 5. Oh, the end of verse 4 again. Speaking evil of you, like I said, a lot of people, again, because we live in this age of social media, a lot of people are really emotional about the fact that people speak evil of you. And I'll be trying to tell brothers and sisters, you can't have thin skin in this truth, especially if you choose to be a teacher. You should expect that people are going to speak evil of you and lie on you. Why should you expect that, priest? Because they did it to Yahweh Shai. When you look at that trial that the Sanhedrin had with Yahweh Shai before Yahweh Shai was crucified, they brought false witnesses against him. They said that Christ was doing his miracles by the power of the devil. Right? That's what they said. They called him a glutton and a wine bibber. That's what they called him. Right? In Acts chapter 7? I'm winging it. When Stephen was stoned, they brought false witnesses against him too. The reason why Paul did not want to come to Jerusalem and stand trial was because it was going to be a kangaroo court with him too. They were going to bring false witnesses too. But because Paul was a Roman citizen, he said, man, I appeal to Caesar. I'm not dealing with you Negroes, but I'm trying to show you all the people I just mentioned, people spoke evil of them. The Pharisees loved Paul till he stopped being a Pharisee. Then they hated him. The world is going to love you as long as you're part of the world. They love their own. Right? But as soon as you pull away from the world, now you have problems. They brought all types of false accusations against Paul to the point where he had to appeal to Caesar. Right? Stephen lost his life behind that. Think about it. Anyway. Verse 5. Who shall give account to him that is ready to judge the quick and the dead? So the people that do this, that speak evil of you, they have to give an account for that, whether they realize it or not. For this cause was the gospel preached also unto them that are dead, that they might be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to God in the spirit. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things, have fervent charity amongst yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. That's what I mean. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just because you're going through something doesn't mean that you can't be hospitable with others. As every man hath received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If we're teaching about God, everything we're saying should come out the Bible. If any man minister, let him do it as the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Yahweh Shai, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Verse 12. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial. See, the Bible is repetitive. It's not a strange thing, which is to try you as though some strange thing has happened to you, because it's not strange. We see everybody throughout the scriptures, all the great people of prominence, men and women, being tried in their own way. But rejoice insomuch as ye are partakers of Yahushai's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. Let's move on. Let's look at the book of Zechariah chapter 9, verses 13 through 16. It says, when I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and has made thee as the sword of a mighty man. That's what we're waiting for. Right? But let's continue. And the Lord shall be seen over them, and his arrow shall go forth as the lightning, and the Lord shall blow the trumpet, and shall go with the whirlwinds of the south. The Lord of hosts shall defend them, and they shall devour, and subdue with sling and stones, and they shall drink, and make a noise as through wine, and they shall be filled with bows, and as the corners of the altar. Here's the point, verse 16, what I want to get to. And the Lord their God shall save them in that day as the flock of his people. For they shall be as the stones of a crown, lifted up as an ensign upon the land. The reason why I'm showing you this, brothers and sisters, is because the same refinement process that gold goes through, that silver goes through, that platinum goes through, well, there's also a refinement process for precious stones as well. So it's another literary device being used in the Bible, letting you know throughout the scriptures, in order to be as the stones of a crown, they don't just dig a damn stone out the ground, precious stone out the ground, and plop it on a crown and give it to the king. No, the crown is made of gold. And then within the gold, they put the precious stones. So the gold is going through a refinement process to get rid of all the impurities. And the stones are going through a refinement process to get rid of all the impurities. Well, such it is with us. In order for we to be the flock of his people, in order for us to be the stones upon that golden crown, we got to be refined. This is the book of Malachi chapter 3, verses 16 and 17. It says, then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that fear the Lord and thought upon his name. That's us. We're the ones that fear the Lord, and we call upon his name and we think about his name, right? And so the Most High remembers that. Verse number 17, and they shall be mine, saith the Lord, in that day when I make up my jewels. So again, precious stones. In the day when the Most High gathers his precious stones or his jewels, these are going to be the Israelites that went through the refinement process and made it through and constantly endured. And I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. The Most High will spare us from the fate of those of our people that don't repent. Let's jump over to the book of Revelation, chapter 21. I want to show you guys something. All right, this is Revelation chapter 21. Let's start from verse number 10. It says, and he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God. So this is the people. This is not talking about a literal city that's coming out the heavens. This is talking about the people, Israel, us, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. Verse 12. And had a wall great and high, and 12 gates, and the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereon were the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Let's keep reading. We're going to come back to this. Let's keep reading. On the east, 3 gates. On the north, 3 gates. On the south, 3 gates. And on the west, 3 gates. Verse 14. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations. I want you to keep that in mind. 12 foundations. And in them, the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. So written on the 12 foundations is the name of the 12 apostles. Verse 15. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city. Now, does everybody remember what I've shown you guys in the past? Right? If not, I'm going to go grab it. What does it mean when it says to measure the city, or read to measure the city? What is that making reference to? If you guys want to put it in the chat, you guys can put it in the chat. I'm going to go stop sharing my computer for 1 second. I'm going to go and I'm going to grab it. And I'm going to show you guys real quick, right? While you guys are putting, I'm not looking in the chat, but I'm going to grab it. Okay, so just want to see which one I want to grab. Okay, I'll grab this one. Simplest one. Okay, let me come back here for a second. We're gonna come back to the PowerPoint in 1 second. So let me share my screen. I'm gonna actually share a window this time. Hopefully you guys will be able to see it. You know what? I'm gonna share the entire screen. That's better. Okay. So when you guys look right there, I showed you guys this before, but I'm gonna show it to you again. That's the word canon. Your Bible is called a canon. That's what it's called. Not a cannon like shooting cannonballs, nothing like that. It's called a canon. What does the word canon actually mean? Why is it called that? Well, the term canon from the Hebrew Greek word meaning measuring rod. Does everybody see that? It means measuring rod. That's what the word canon means. Okay. Let me share my screen. Let me share another one. Okay. Okay, guys. So this is another one, right? This one is from Bible Hub. Same thing, right? Canon, right? What does it mean? It means measuring standard. Measuring standard. Everybody with me? Okay. So now we're going to come back and look at this again. Let's pick it up from verse number 14. It says, and the walls of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he talked with me, and he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city. Remember, looking up at verse 12, the city represents the 12 tribes of Israel. And the angel had a reed to measure the city. What's the city? The 12 tribes of Israel. What does it mean to measure them? It means you use the canon. So how do we measure our people? We measure them by the Bible. That's how we measure them. Does everybody understand that? And only those that measure up are going to enter into the city. They're going to enter into the kingdom. Those that measure up. Well, how does one measure up? Through the canon, the Bible. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the walls thereof, to measure the people. Verse 16. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are all equal. Verse 17. And he measured the wall thereof, 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. Verse 18. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper. Now, let's keep reading. And the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. In order for gold to be so shiny, it's like unto clear glass, brothers and sisters, I've been talking about it all afternoon. What has to happen to that gold? It has to be refined for it to look that good. What has to happen to that jasper? It has to be refined or proven through fire in order to look this good. So what is the scripture showing us? In verse number 14, the 12 apostles, they were the first ones to go through that refining process. They were the first ones. Just read the book of Acts, what they went through. They went through a hell of a lot. That's why they were all killed except for John. They caught hell to preach the gospel. So as a result, in the resurrection, they're going to sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. That's what Christ said. But it also mentions the 12 tribes in verse number 12, because guess what? We are the city. We are that city, figuratively. So in order to shine like pure gold, to the point of where it looks like clear glass, it's a hell of a refining process that we have to go through. Right? Verse 19. And the foundations of the wall. Remember, the apostles are the foundations, right? Verse 14. And the foundations of the walls of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper. That's one of the apostles. The second, sapphire. The third, chalcedony. The fourth, an emerald. The fifth, sardonyx. The sixth, sardis. The seventh, crystallite. The eighth, beryl. The ninth, topaz. The 10th, chrysoprase. These are Greek words, whatever. And the 11th, jacinth. And the 12th, amethyst. These are your foundations. These are your precious stones that went through a refinement process where they were worthy to be actually put in the foundation of the kingdom. So John is seeing all this in a vision. The apostles would go through a refinement process. And ultimately, those that come after, the Israelites that come into the truth up to today, from the time of the apostles up to today, we all have to go through the same refinement process in order to become this pure gold and these precious stones. It's a process that you have to go through. Is everybody following me? I want to make sure everybody's following me. I'm going to stop for a second. If what I'm saying is making sense, I need you guys to put one in the chat. I don't want to lose anybody. I want to make sure everybody's following along and understands what's happening. Okay. All right. Let's go back to it then. So I just want to make sure. And we're going through this today, brothers and sisters, because again, sometimes I feel like all of us need this reinforcement, this reminder, because we're all going through it, man. All of us. All of us. Verse number 21. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls, and every several gate was one pearl. And the streets of the city were pure gold, and it was as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein, for the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. Let's move on. So your afflictions won't be mine, and mines aren't going to be yours. But some of the afflictions that I think most of us can agree that many of us have is with family in one way or another. Your family are unbelievers, or whatever situation you might have with your family, right? For some of you brothers and sisters, your children are a problem. You didn't start off in this truth as an Israelite. You might have been something else before. And the Most High wakes you up to this truth, right? But your children aren't convinced that this is the truth. So they don't follow suit. They don't start believing they're Israelite just because you did. So now there's division amongst you. And in some cases, these children are living in your house under your roof, which is even worse. Sometimes you might receive affliction through your job, just being ostracized on your job, or people separating from you on your job, or you might lose that really good job that you have when you come into the truth, and you're having a hard time for a while finding a job of equal value. Right? Maybe you might wind up having to work two jobs to make up for that one job, whatever the situation might be. Right? I know a lot of you brothers, there's a lot of people in Israel that are truck drivers. That's one of the hardest jobs to have. Yeah, they make good money, but between the police messing with the truck drivers, and the problems with the trucks themselves, and the problems with just drivers driving regular cars, and then these guys bringing their loads to places and they reject the load, and it's just be a lot of stuff. I know truck drivers go through a lot of stuff, and just sitting in your car for 10 hours, and it's just so much stuff, right? You might be going through something with your finances. You come into Israel and you have a nice amount of money saved up, and then something happens and now all your savings are gone. Or you're just somebody that just can't seem to ever just get by other than just paycheck to paycheck. Might have some problems with your spouse. Y'all under the same roof, but you don't get along. You don't like each other. Or you came into the truth. Your spouse didn't. Y'all have children. You want to raise your children one way now. They don't. Problems, right? Health problems. A lot of times, a lot of that stuff is self-inflicted. If you really peel back the layers, it's self-inflicted. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes the Most High just puts something on your plate to see what you're going to do. You're not feeling well. You're going through a health scare, whatever like that, whatever it may be. And now nobody sees you anymore. You don't come to camp anymore. You don't fellowship with brothers and sisters anymore. You don't do anything when the strength is actually in the brotherhood and the sisterhood, because especially when it comes to health, there's a lot of things you can do to, I'll use the word reverse a lot of what we do. Reverse engineer a lot of the things that we do to our bodies. It's not always the case. Not always the case. Some things are hereditary. You're genetically predisposed to certain things. Like a lot of us are genetically predisposed to things like asthma, meaning, your parents had it, you have it, you pass it down to your children, right? And you think it's a lifelong chain, where you're always going to have asthma. But if you actually learn how to eat, there's a way that you're supposed to eat for people that have asthma. You can really reduce a lot of the problems that are associated with it. And that goes for a lot of other ailments. Today's not maybe I need to do a whole health class on the Sabbath. I think I need to do that. Anyway, we already spoke about being ostracized. We already spoke about friends separating company from you. We already speak about temptation. I'm saying? Especially temptation can be tied to a lot of the things up above. But let's tie temptation to finances, right? So You know, it's always easier to make money doing sin than it is to make money righteous, right? That fast money, a lot of drug dealers make the money, right? That fast money is easy. I was watching a video the other day. I should have saved it. I was watching the video the other day. I don't know why it came up on my timeline on TikTok. But there's a girl, a female, I don't know her name. Don't want to know her name. But she was on one of these podcasts. And she's the highest paid creator on OnlyFans last year. And I don't want to misquote it, but I believe last year she made about $67 million on OnlyFans. Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? That's why so many of our young sisters are getting on OnlyFans. A lot of them. And just so y'all know, not everybody that's on OnlyFans is actually having sex. You got pages on OnlyFans where women just sell pictures of their feet. So I'm telling you, making a killing. Yeah. I'm just using that as an example. It's always easier just to get out here and do something crazy and make some fast money. I have had Israelites in my walk literally tell me that they're trying to keep themselves from doing something like robbing a store or something. That's how bad things were in their life. It was something that they did in the world. They repented and came into the truth, right? But then times got hard. They started getting hit with these afflictions, this fiery trial. They started getting hit with that. And the first thought was reverting back. But you know what I'm saying? What I used to do before I came to the truth. I could easily go out and rob somebody and make some money real quick. I'll just do it one time and I won't do it no more and I'll repent. I have actually had Israelites say that to me, man. They didn't do it though. But are we being real? Temptation is a real thing. It is. Especially when you're in the midst of your fiery trial. It's easy to go out and do something that you know is wrong to make some quick money. Doubt is a monster. Doubting if this is the truth. Doubting, if you're of the elect. Doubting if you are really an Israelite. Do I have a great-great-great-grandfather that's an Edomite somewhere? Some crazy stuff, man. Doubt is a hell of a thing. Fear is a hell of a thing. Loneliness is a hell of a thing, especially for you sisters. Especially for my wonderful Israelite sisters. Loneliness is a hell of a thing for y'all. Because when you guys act on your loneliness, you usually wind up in relationships, in partnerships with husbands that you knew damn well you shouldn't have dealt with, but you did because you was lonely, right? And now you got a problem on your hands that nobody can help you with. These are all different temptations that will affect all of us differently. In some of these areas, some of us are very strong. So you better believe whatever area you're strong in, that's not where your temptation is coming from. It's going to come into place where you know you're weak. And everybody knows where they're weak at. Everybody knows that. Anyway, let's move on. As I said before, but the Most High always provides a way out. This is 1 Corinthians 10, verse 13. It says, there is no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man, meaning that everybody's going through something, and whatever you're going through, somebody went through it before you and overcame it. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. Most High is not going to put something on you you can't get out of, even though the obstacle may seem insurmountable in the moment. That's where your comfort comes from in the scriptures. You go to the scriptures and you go to the scriptures and you read something like this, and y'all bear with me 1 second. You come to the scriptures and you read something like this, and it reminds you that, hey, you know what? I'm not alone in this. And if I think about this logically, there's going to be a way for me to get out of it. Y'all bear with me 1 second, Slocky, about that. Just gotta send a text to somebody so they can stop calling me during my class. Okay. So once again, it says, "Who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you might be able to bear it." So in other words, if you take your emotions out of it, which is not easy always to do initially, because we're human, but if you give it some time and you look at it from a more, I guess, logical place, from a more calm place, you'll be able to see something or a way to surmount or to go around that obstacle. There always is. The psalmist said the same thing. This is Psalms chapter 34, verse 19. It says, many are the afflictions of the righteous. So again, why would anybody think that you're going to come into the truth and it's just going to be a clear path to the kingdom? No. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of them all. There's always an escape. This is the book of Hebrews chapter 2, starting from verse 16. It says, "For verily he took not on him the nature of angels, Salaki, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people." Verse 18, "For in that he himself hath suffered being tempted, he's able to succor them that are tempted." So again, when you see this word tempted, a lot of times people's mind jumps directly to lust and the flesh. It's not talking about that. So you guys see the Greek word, right? It's pyrazo. Pyrazo. What is that Greek word implying? When it says that Christ has suffered being tempted, Christ has suffered being proven. He was tried, to try. Does everybody see that? Here's look at number 3 right here. To try one's faith, virtue, character by enticement to sin. So Yahushua was proven. He came down in the flesh, did not take on the nature of angels, came through the seed of Abraham, all the way down to Jesse and King David, all the way down to Joseph. So he was just like us. And being just like us in the flesh, he had to prove himself. And he did. And now he's able to make intercession on our behalf to the Most High, because he has been through all the things that we've been through. And that's why he was found worthy to loose the seals. This is Revelation chapter 5. And I want to start from verse number 1. It says, "And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals? And no man in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders saith unto me, Weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals." So Yahushua is worthy to loose the seals because he proved himself. Right? Likewise, to understand the Bible, we have to prove ourselves as well. That's why the longer that you're in the truth is the more your understanding increases. Remember what the Bible says, right? The Bible says in the book of Psalms, a good understanding have all they that do what? Keep his commandments. So you prove yourself to the Most High every day by keeping God's commandments in light of the temptation that's out there to do wrong, that would probably lessen your affliction if you just did wrong like everybody else. But you don't give in to that temptation and you prove yourself and keep God's commandments, your knowledge will increase. And the Most High will open the understanding of the book to you. He'll reveal his secrets and his mysteries to you. But you have to prove yourself worthy, and so do I. And again, everybody's trial of faith is different. Everybody's familiar with the book of Hebrews chapter 11. I don't have to read it. You guys are familiar with that, right? Let's jump down to verse number 39 and 40 in Hebrews chapter 11. And it speaks about what's called the heroes of faith, or the fathers and mothers of faith, in the book of Hebrews chapter 11. They're all listed right here on this little chart. So I didn't have to read 39 verses. I'm just going to jump right to verse number 39. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise, God having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. So these people didn't even receive the promise the way that we're going to receive the promise if we endure to the end. When they would try, they were faithful to the Most High. And that's what we have to do. That's the example that we have to take. Hebrews, the 11th chapter, is a great scripture that we all should read often. Job chapter 5, verse 17, behold, happy is the man whom God correcteth. Therefore, despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty. Sometimes, brothers and sisters, this is the other part. Sometimes the afflictions and fiery trial that we go through isn't just to refine you, it's also to chastise you. We all know when we do something that's off. All of us do. Right? And you go outside and you got to look up to make sure that ain't a daggone brick from a building about to fall on top of your head because you know you don't went off, right? Sure, everybody has experienced that at one time or another. What you should know is that sometimes things that happen to you is to chastise you, and you should expect it. And you should be happy about it because the Most High could have destroyed you. And that affliction, that trial that comes on you is to correct you so that you don't make that mistake again, so you can still be in the good graces of the Most High and receive the kingdom. Behold, happy is the man whom God correcteth. Therefore despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty, for he maketh sore and bindeth up. He woundeth, the Most High might wound you in your head, not literally wound you like break your, but I'm talking about you're going to deal with something. You're going to get a spanking, for lack of a better word, right? You'll get some strokes from the Most High in one way or another. And his hands make whole, because the same God that will wound you, the same God that will make you sore, is the same one that will bind you up, and he'll make you whole. Same spirit. Acts 14, verse 22, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of heaven. As we were going through Revelation the last couple of weeks, right? Always keep in mind, right, that these tribulations that are on you on a personal level are going to intensify and magnified to the point where you being an Israelite is going to be a problem in this society. The beast, the dragon, is going to make war with the saints that keep the commandments. That's coming. That's going to be part of the tribulation as well. That's going to be part of the test as well. Then when it's time for the mark, right? That's going to be a test for you as well. Are you going to put a microchip in your hand? Are you going to put a Neuralink chip in your brain? Huh? Are you going to want to become one with technology like they're pushing? That's the question. We're all going to be tried. Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. To actually see tribulations coming down on you and you glory in it, that's tough. But Paul said he does. But we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. When you go through things, right, that builds up your level of patience. A lot of us in this truth, we suffer from being impatient. We're impatient with the Most High, and we're impatient with each other. But when you begin to go through things, right, experience in life, you become more patient because you already look back and say, I've been through this, and this. So now I'm going through this particular thing. And all them other things I went through at the time I was going through it, I didn't see a way around it. I didn't see a way over it. But here I am. I'm still here. And I got through it. At the time, I didn't think I was going to get through it, but I got through it. So now when this obstacle is in your way, you become more patient. Like, all right, I see you, obstacle. I can't see around you right now. I can't see over you right now. But I'm going to be patient because eventually I'm going to see a way. I'm going to see it. I can't see it yet. I'm going to see it. Become more patient. That's why Paul said he gloried in tribulations. It built up his patience level. And patience, experience. Because when you go through certain things, you gain a level of experience. Because there are some things you're going to go through multiple times in life, whatever those things may be. And the first time you go through it, you'll react to it one way. Then that obstacle might come back and challenge you again down the road. Like, let's just say you have a job, you're doing well, and then you lose your job. And you think it's the end of the world. How am I pay my bills? How am I do this? How am I do that? I'm gonna take care of my family, right? At the time, you can't see around that. Then you find another job, right? Doing good for a little while. Then boom, you lose that job for whatever reason. The second time around, you're not going to be as hasty as you were the first time. You're not going to feel the same as you did the first time because you got through it the first time. So you don't experience this before. Okay, how did I get through this obstacle the last time? Okay, check it out. So basically what it was when I lost my job, I got unemployment and I had to kind of cut back on certain bills and certain things I might have indulged myself on or whatever and just use my unemployment to pay my bills until I could find something else, right? So that's just what I'm going to have to do now. No big deal. We got to tighten our belts, honey. We got to tighten our belts, children, for a little while. We've been through this before. It'll be no problem. I found something last time. I'll find something again, whatever it is. You have experience. And experience hope. And hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Ghost, which is given unto us. Let's move on. I'm going to skip this one for now. I'm going to skip some of these for now. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 8. It says, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Let's go back to Sirach chapter 2 and pick up where we left off. It says in verse number 11, it says, "For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in the time of affliction." So eventually, whatever affliction you're going through, the Most High will save you out of it or provide you that escape when it's time. Until it's time, be patient. Woe to the fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believed not. A lot of people that came into this truth and fell out because of lifing, they were faint-hearted, and they never believed. They never really believed this. Because in order to believe in this truth, you have to believe in this part. And what part is this? The bitter. Therefore shall he not be defended. Verse 14. Woe unto you that have lost patience. What will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, not even in the midst of affliction. I'm going to read that again. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word. It's not an excuse just because you're going through something to sin so you can get through that thing. If you do that, you don't fear the Lord. And they that love him will keep his ways. If you really love the Most High, you're going to keep his ways no matter what you're going through. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 6. It's going to read verses 4 and 5 for the sake of time. It says, "But in all things, approving ourselves as the ministers of God." So how does one approve themselves as a minister of God? How do you show yourself approved? Besides studying, how else do you show yourself approved? How do you approve yourself as a minister of God? In much patience, in afflictions, in necessities, when sometimes you might need something and you may not have access to it at the time, in distresses, and that can cover a multitude of things, in stripes, in imprisonments, because guess what? The apostles were in prison. Jeremiah the prophet was in prison. Daniel was shut up in the lion's den. John was banished to the island of Patmos. Right? The Bible tells us in the book of Revelation, I believe it's chapter 2, that some of us are going to be cast into prison for teaching this word when the time comes. In tumults, because guess what? Uprisings are about to happen, right? We got to keep our eyes on this upcoming election. It's going to be real interesting. I don't think anybody's going to be happy on either side, whoever loses. Right? It's going to be chaos. But we got to stay in the spirit and follow the scriptures. In labors, you show yourself approved to the Most High in labors. What's the main labor that we're supposed to be doing is teaching? If you consider yourself an Israelite in good standing with the Most High, and you have little to no teaching going on in your ministry as an individual, that's terrible. You're supposed to be teaching. It's not easy every week for me to get up here and do these classes. It's not, especially since I do them this way in PowerPoint. I think most of you guys that know how to use PowerPoint understand how much work goes into this every single week. And, you know, my wife would tell you, and others would tell you around me that I'd be telling them all the time, I don't feel like sometimes I just don't feel like, right? I have to fight myself to do it. Not because I don't like teaching, but because I set a certain standard. So now I'm stuck. I'm stuck here. Oh, there might be some weeks where I don't do a PowerPoint. I'm letting y'all know now. But anyway, then we sit on Clubhouse and we teach for hours. And then brothers go to camp, and you know, it's always some teaching going on all the time. But that's how you show yourself approved as a minister of the Most High. In watchings and fastings, and it goes on and on and on and on. And you have to do these things all through the refinement process, the trying, the afflictions. You still got to do what you have to do, what the Most High told you to do. I'm going to stop it there for now because you guys had a bunch of other scriptures, but I'm going to stop it right there because I think at this point, the point has been made. Plus, time is definitely upon me at this point. So hopefully you brothers and sisters were edified by the class. I do appreciate you brothers and sisters. I see Elder Zahab is back here. Hold on a second, Zahab. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. So I definitely appreciate you brothers and sisters being here. I hope the lesson was edifying. So I have I'm going to give you guys a heads up. Shout out to the niece, Anya. So she has been pushing me to do a particular PowerPoint lesson for like, I want to say about 3 years now, right? And I just haven't done it. So Most High's will next week, I'm going to do that PowerPoint that she's been, I ain't going to tell y'all what it is, but it is related to what's going on now, especially with this upcoming election cycle that we're about to be in. I'm going to do that lesson if it be the Most High as well next week. So you guys need to be here. Sister Adanique, I'm going to answer your question in 1 second. I see your question. I need you guys to be here next week on time. All right, we're going to do a very, very interesting lesson next week. I ain't going to tell you guys what it is just yet. Now, to your question, Sister Adanique, that's a good question. And let's see, I got 10 minutes. And of course, El Zahab, you can jump in at any point if you want to say something. So the sister asked, what more can the sisters do? I get asked that question a lot. And I'm going to tell you how I approach the question. And if Zahab wants to come in, he can tell you how he approaches the question. I make it generally known to men and women that we're a body, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 10 speaks about the body being many members, right? We're a body, right? Give me 1 second, y'all. I just want to let's see. 1 Corinthians, I believe it's 10. I don't want to send y'all to the wrong chapter. Nope, it's not 10. So it must be 12. Was it 2 Corinthians? I forget it. Might be 2 Corinthians 10. Let me see. But anyway, to answer your question, because I don't have very long. All right. So basically, I tell people that we're a body, right? The body has many members, but each, this is written in Corinthians. I just got to find a chapter. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, each member of the body has a particular function that it does in order for the body to operate optimally, right? And so all of you brothers and sisters have gifts. The problem is that I always tell people it's too many people for me to come individually and sit down with everybody and find out what your gift is. It's better if you come to your leader, your body, whatever, and tell us what your gifts, your talents are, and then we can plug you in the right direction. For instance, Sister, to be a little more specific, right? In our particular camp, we have departments, right? We have a correspondence department. We have an events department. We have a treasury. We have a bunch of different departments that we have in the camp. If you're somebody that's good with correspondence, right? Answering phone calls, answering emails, so forth and so on, then you could come to me and say, hey, I'm good with correspondence. Let me do that department. You sisters can do stuff like that. If you're good with your hands, the Most High blessed you with your hands where you're a good cook. You could be a part of the events department and cook. Or you might be really good at decorating things. You could be part of the events department and help decorate things. Help us find locations where we could have Passover at or other holy days, so forth and so on. You coordinate things for us. Right? Real quick, let's go to the book of Romans chapter 13. I believe it's Romans chapter 13. Yeah, I believe it's Romans chapter 13. Real quick, or is it 14? Let me see. I
don't know, maybe you were looking for 1 Corinthians 12 and 20, but now I'm in many members in one body.
Zahab, you're muffled. Real quick, let me share the scripture with you. Yeah, you're muffled. So let me share my screen real quick. Show you guys something. Let's do it this way. Boom. Okay, let me share my screen and show you guys this real quick. All right. This is Romans chapter 16, right? And start from verse number 1. It says, and I commend unto you Phoebe, our sister. So first thing you sisters should notice, right? This is a woman, right? Paul sent her to Rome to help the church at Rome. Why? Because she was gifted and talented. Listen, I commend unto you Phoebe, our sister, which is a servant of the church, which is at Centrea. So Phoebe really was somebody that was at the church at Centrea, but she was so valuable in her gifts, whatever they were, that Paul said, you need to go to Rome and go to that church and help them out as well. They need your help. Verse number 2, that ye receive her in the Lord as become a saints, and that ye assist her in whatsoever business she hath need of you, for she hath been a succor of many and of myself. So this sister was helpful to Paul and many other people and the church at Centrea and the church at Rome. Now, what the business was that she was doing or she was good at, I don't know. But what I do know is that she had gifts and she had talents, and Paul was aware of her talents and he utilized her talents and her gifts for the betterment of the body. So as a sister, if you have a gift or a talent, or let's just say you come into the camp and you see that we're not doing something at all in a particular area that we should, instead of sitting back and judging and like, well, look at them, they're not doing this, right? If you see something that needs to be covered, an area that you can fit in, then you become the cog and fit that piece in and do that thing. You initiate that thing and bring it to leadership, right? Because we don't have time and we don't see everything. Like me as a person that does the classes and teaching, and I got to counsel people, so forth and so on. I always know that there's some things that I don't cover. I always know within the body, there's some things that we need to get done in the body that I'm not able to get to because I'm doing all this other stuff, right? And so I don't get to come to people on an individual basis, but it seems to me, and I'm saying this, and I know I'm speaking for a lot of other leaders, it seems to me that if I don't come to you, not you, sis, but in general, if I don't come to you, you're not coming to me to tell me what you could do. You're not. You're not, right? So what I'm saying to you, sister, wherever you fellowship, wherever you are, or let's just say you're not a part of nobody, but you have a talent. Offer your talents to Israel in general. Make yourself known. Hey, I'll tell you what we need right now. We need sisters that are good with children in Israel. We need sisters that want to become doulas in Israel, so sisters can have home births, right? We need to identify who the nurses are in Israel, who the doctors are in Israel, who the people that deal with therapy. When I say therapy, like a lot of Israelites are dealing with issues. They're dealing with issues. They need therapy. They need to talk to somebody. I'm sure we have therapists in Israel. Where are they? We need construction workers, right? We need all these things. Another one, some of you sisters are really good with fashion. We need sisters that can make garments, that can look at the pattern of the garments that Israelites wear, and you could duplicate that or better it. We need all those things, right? But we need for the sisters to come to us and tell us that you can do this. So there's a lot, and hopefully I didn't miss anything. Zahab, you wanted to say something?
Can you hear me? My mic's not down.
It's not the best, but I can hear you though. Sister Poro, I know you're a nurse. We need more. We need more though. Go ahead, Zahab. What were you saying?
No. I was just, backing on what you're saying. Play their part and put their brick in, so to speak. Because we are one body, and like you said, we can't do everything. You know what I'm saying? So people, they get blessed with certain skills that they think it's not a skill, but when you really analyze it, it is a skill.
Yes, Zahab, you're really muffled. So you're really muffled. Right. So,
yeah. I'm gonna go on mute. I don't know. It's a back connection.
Okay, I'm not sure why, but there's a lot of stuff that we need. We need sisters to do, and brothers too. But there's a lot of stuff that we need. So definitely you guys can see the email scrolling at the bottom of the channel, right? I mean, at the bottom of the screen. So if you have any gifts or any talents that you think that we as Israelites can utilize, sisters and brothers, hit us up at that email right there and we'll check it out. Because there's a bunch of things that I know I need help with for sure. For sure. Definitely, right? I'm not good with coordinating a lot of my schedule, a lot of things. It's a lot of stuff, man. Anyway, I appreciate you brothers and sisters being here. And again, I'm glad the class was edifying. We're here every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. 1 second. 1 second, y'all. Trying to look something up real quick. Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. So my time is up. We're about to get out of here, but we will definitely see you guys again next week, if it be the Most High's will. Real quick, last week I was trying to play this new song that we have. I didn't get a chance. Get the likes up too, guys. That's another thing. You guys been here listening to me for the last 2 hours, and my likes are looking terrible. That's sad. Get the likes up, guys. Come on. All right. All right. So, guys, we'll be here again. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The Unity cap, I believe it was the 28th. If I'm not mistaken, was there a change?
Yeah, it's the 28th. That's
next week.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, if you're in New York, if you're in the city, come out, man. We having a Unity cap next week, Lord willing, in Times Square area. Just hit us up. We'll let you know.
All right, guys. So let me go ahead and play this song for you guys, and we'll be here again next week if it be the Most High's will. Most High definitely bless you, brothers and sisters, and I do appreciate all you brothers and sisters that have been supporting the camp financially, is sending us donations, so forth and so on. Definitely appreciate you guys. Most High bless. We'll see you guys next week. Shalom.
Yeah. Hey. CNN, I turn on the screen. I see the end, but we still don't agree. Technology and economy. Shikari Richardson, that run on was me. Legislation branch, I would cut down a tree. Revelation 18, but y'all don't want to leave. CDC gonna be dropping new diseases. In the wilderness, the eye will finna meet us. I see the melanin, we gotta be the people. I feel adrenaline, Hamashiach, my leader. You see the fellowship, the only way to keep us. We too intelligent, the prophecy I'm reading. Put pride aside, the one that's beside is why we alive. Shouts out to I, be lift up and link up to wake up the tribe. We don't idolize, we seal up, then seal up, and take down their guys. Deception like glasses, we see through their lies. Will you survive? I let you decide. The dark days, this a new age. When the money fails, tell me who's paid. The dark days, read the front page. System gon' fail, so tell me who saved. The dark days, the righteous unfazed, and that's how we play it. If the Most High says,
The dark days, I'ma just say it. Too late to be scared, cause America is dead. Hey, first of all, you should prepare. Stock food. Worst of all, the ending is near. Cop tools, repent or fall, kill a sin, not lose. Take it off, get it from hits, it's not cool. A Naviel, flow pepper like shotty shells. We talking stream like both cells, I gotta sell. Get off your phone, that's a sell, not a sell. Not cellular, like cell, but like jail. When heaven come, is it here? Can you tell? We irregular, Microsoft, we excel. I'm fed it up, yeah, I'm pissed. Can you tell? Let's huddle up. Did we miss? Did we fail? How dare you say calm down? While Russia got their finger on the bomb now. Plus Kamala and Trump out the wall now. I'ma not keep quiet, I'ma warn now. The dark days, this a new age. When the money fails, tell me who's paid. The dark days, read the front page. System gon' fail, so tell me who's saved. The dark days, the righteous unfazed, and that's how we played. If the most I say. The dark days, I'ma just say it. Too late to be scared, cause America is dead. Help us, help us, help us, help us, help us, help us.